Hey everybody, TBC here. Welcome back. If you're tuning in, you've been wandering around Norrath since the days when dial-up and pull could make or break your night, or the cleric goes LD at the worst possible time. But that pull to log back in and have that EverQuest itch again never really quite goes away. Well, this summer, Daybreak are rolling out several options for us. We will have the new server Frostreaver at the end of May. EverQuest Legends is looking like it will be releasing around July, and that's not it. We will also have another TLP in Lethar in August. A lot of long-time players are excited for these options, but maybe a little bit cautious after years of seeing the same cycles play out time and time again. So today we're going to break down what each of those servers offer, how they feel based on what people online are saying, and help you figure out where you might fit your playstyle that isn't going to burn you out. So let's get right on into it. First up, we will have Frostreaver, which is launching quite soon on May 27th. And this server is the one the community had direct input through various polls earlier on in the year. Going to start with Classic through Scars of Velius, which many veterans appreciate. Classic is too slow and there's not enough content. Kunite doesn't really add an awful lot once you've done your epic, once you've done the level 60, the raids don't really change. But with Scars of Velius, there's way more options out there with Temple of Vishan, Sleeper's Tomb, Chaos Drakal, and I love hanging out in the plane of Mischief. Of course, it gives a little bit of breathing room before Lucklin hits, and we get mounts and the Bazaar, so the world still feels relatively big. Now, the rule sets that ran out are absolutely crazy and very stacked. Live level experience rates, free trade, no true box, so boxing is allowed, and as many clients as you want on one PC, Mischief style randomized loot, Oakwind style encounter lock-in. We're going to have the hot zones coming back from Fangbreaker. So really, this rule set is crazy. It's basically everything they've done from the last few years all thrown into one. You thought Mischief or Teak was crazy? No, this server is going to blow it out of the water. Not only that, we're also getting Beast Lords and Berserkers right from the beginning. They've never done that before. Don't know how that's going to play out with itemization. Obviously they won't be able to do things like the epics until like Lucklin for Beast Lords, for example, but it gives players more options early on, and you know what, I'm all for it. Now the expansion Unlock Cadence could do with some tweaking. It's going to be a long time in Velius before we really start rolling into like Lucklin. And then we start going into the regular cadence of 8 weeks. Now, this server, you will level so fast, ridiculously fast, faster than you think you will, because live level at XP is extremely fast already. And then once you start hitting those hot zones, which are totally worth doing, you're going to level like ridiculously fast. You'll probably get multiple levels every hour. It should be a lot of fun. But having an elongated time in Velius, unless you're someone that likes to play a lot of characters, and there are certainly benefits to do so on this server with the Oakwind rule set that we'll be in, you're going to run out of things to do pretty early on. And of course with the boxing, if you're someone that likes to 6-box, for example, I think it will be relatively mixed. I mean, I'm someone who has boxed on previous TLPs. I'm not a huge fan of it, but sometimes I just want to play and chill by myself and not have to mess around sorting out groups. But on this server, if you're 6-boxing, now group loot on this server is pretty much going to be worthless because the raid loot is tradable right from the get-go. So why would you go for group loot when the better raid loot is available straight away? So the return, if you're someone that's just 6-boxing for group camps, is going to be poor. Having said that, if you can put together a few friends, there's a few you're 6-boxing, 12-boxing, you name it, you know, that's where the money will be if you're running small man raids, and that's certainly what I'd recommend doing. So that said, a lot of people say it might be a little too accelerated. The economy is going to be kind of crazy earlier on, but if you're someone that enjoys that kind of classic Tevelius journey, that kind of classic EverQuest feel with the modern conveniences, and you don't mind a absolutely chaotic rule set, this server is going to have strong appeal. Next up, we will have EverQuest Legends. EverQuest Legends is coming in July and is being put together at arm's length from Daybreak by a separate studio, which was set up basically by some of the big hitters from the EverQuest emulator scene from the last almost like 2 decades now, really. So this server kind of follows directly on from the hero's journey. Let's be real. It's basically Daybreak taking what the hero's journey was doing and making it their own, with the big draw being the multiclassing and the game pretty much being solo playable. You can add a few friends, but the idea is you play solo. You're going to pick your primary class at creation, a second class straight away, and a third class a little later. So if you're someone that likes to theory craft, hey, what's the best way to kill Inneruk as a solo character? I could do it as a monk, shaman, bard, for example, as one character. That's going to have a lot of appeal because you can raid at your own schedule. You can see these raids that perhaps you don't have the time to sit on a regular TLP with 50, 60, 70 other people being herded around like sheep to kill Inneruk at the end of Plane of Hate, when you can do it solo or by yourself on EverQuest Legends. Now, the server will be a separate subscription, and Chrono will not exist on the server. They will have their own itemization. I've already seen some of it. It's pretty similar to what you would expect if you played on the hero's journey. So if you're someone that wants to try that out, EverQuest Legends is certainly going to be an excellent option. The beta's going on right now as well, so make sure you got signed up. I've heard that the beta has been had very good uptake. A lot of people have signed up for that one. Expect plenty of theory crafting in the coming weeks about combos, and looking forward to see where that goes. But we're not finished. In August, we are going to get another new TLP in Lethar, which is going to start in the Serpent Spine. Now, I hear a lot of people saying, TVC, why the Serpent Spine? That's so far ahead. I only like starting in Classic. Well, the thing is, the Serpent Spine is actually a really logical starting point for a TLP. It was an expansion that had a totally new leveling path zones all built, and no one's really ever seen them or played them. Never really had a reason to kind of go back and do those quests. So a lot of players have asked for a TLP starting in the Serpent Spine so that they can see this content how it was meant to be played. So I think that's a good thing. But the kind of uniqueness to this server will be its personal loot system. If you've ever played World of Warcraft a few years ago, you complete a dungeon, complete a raid or whatever, you get that little box pop up with the item that you got. Sometimes it was like a rare thing, other times it was just gold. Well, yeah, it will be something similar to that. Again, personal loot. I don't know how that's going to go. I think the idea is it will reward cooperation over kind of competition. You know, I have 2 separate raids when everyone gets the same loot anyway. Maybe they'll scale it so more players in a raid, the more loot, the better loot that is dropped. I don't know how it will run. I think it's going to resonate with players that are kind of burnt out from that early TLP rat race of Lower Guk, Unrest, Kern's Tower, so on and so forth, and they want to experience something new and something different. It will turn off a lot of people. A lot of people like starting Classic, so I think it will have a smaller population, but I think it's going potentially to be a fun server, at least just to mess around on and enjoy the Serpent Spine, and we'll see how that personal loot goes. Clearly they're trialing it and seeing how it works on a TLP like in this nature before rolling it out potentially further if the feedback's good. Let's see what happens there. But outside of EverQuest, but somewhat connected, Monsters and Memories is targeting an early access launch for October. The developers of which are all, a lot of them have been involved with EverQuest for a long time or a long time ago, and are hoping to rekindle that magic of early EverQuest and the dangerous camps and the risky play, high risk, high reward in a dangerous group orientated world where, you know, you can rekindle that sense of wonder and finding things out for the first time. And outside of that is from the Hero's Journey developers their own original game, Hollowed Earth, which will kind of follow on from the Hero's Journey, be the same kind of vein with the multi-class experimentation that made THJ so popular. Let you mix and match multiple classes again into unique builds. They've just launched a Kickstarter. They've released some very early pre-alpha footage. I think we're a long way off this one just yet, but it's worth potentially keeping an eye on. So, where will you land this summer? Do let me know down in the comments section below. If you're someone that wants that kind of traditional TLP start, maybe Frostreaver is calling to you, or you want some creativity and more solo play, Legends looks promising, or if you want to enjoy the summer a little bit longer and starting content that you've never seen before in a potentially smaller player base, then Lether might suit you best. Again, let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more content related to EverQuest. I will, of course, be streaming the Frostreaver launch in a few weeks, as is tradition on this channel. So stay tuned for that. I am the Brick Canuck, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.